Hello again, Lockpicking Paul here, and what I've got tonight is another take on the Lincmaster tubular core that I picked recently, this lock. Gave me a bit of a hard time, took me 6.5 minutes to get this to one position, and you've actually got to pick it to 6 positions to get it open. The reason it took so long is it has tapered pins. That makes this an extremely effective core. Lincmaster reached out to me because they liked what they saw, and they said, would you mind if we reused your video? And I've got absolutely no problem with that. I do honest reviews, and if a lock comes out looking good, I'm equally good with that as I am with a lock that gets defeated quickly. They went a step further and they said, would you mind taking another look at one of our locks and see what it would take to get it fully open end to end? I'm more than happy to do that, and I actually love it when lock companies reach out to the locksport community and have their products tested effectively. I think it shows confidence in their products, and it also shows a real open-mindedness to an organization that wants to sort of do better. Sure, they're trying to make their products look good, but equally, I'm pretty convinced that if I came back with something negative, they'd probably do something about it. So what this is a bit of a review on the Lincmaster EyeLok. Now, I want to be quite clear about this. I don't get paid for this. I don't get any benefits from doing for this. I just do this because it's a hobby and I enjoy it. So I'm not on the payroll of Lincmaster. If this thing comes out badly, it comes out badly. And if it comes out well, it comes out well. It's a wash for me. I have taken a really good look at this, and I have opened it. I know what it takes to get it open. That video is going to be up shortly, but I'm not going to reveal what it took. I will say the core in the lock they sent me is different to the core that I already had. So hold on for the picking video and we'll deal with that. But before we deal with that, we've got to talk about some of the other methods that someone might use to get into this lock. This thing is a really solid all steel construction, and it's simple. The thing that makes this effective is there's very little in the way of parts. You've got effectively 3 components to this lock. We've got the core, so we're going to take that out. And you have to take the core out to get the lock apart. You've got this eye bolt, which is for securing the plant machinery, and this is, I think, the base piece, which I think can be bolted into something, or should be bolted into something. That's all there is to it. This is basically just a big piece of machined steel. Now, given that most attacks are physical brute force, that's what you want, right? You want heavy duty steel. So I think that's pretty good. But the elephant in the room is, can this core be removed with a shim attack? And the reason for that is there are several videos doing the rounds, some by some very famous lock sporters, showing cores being removed from locks which have basically a fundamental weakness. And the fundamental weakness is, can you get to the back of this spring latch? That's the real weakness. If you can get to the back of this spring latch, then you can get a hook-shaped foil behind it and pull it forward, and that will depress the latch and the core can be removed. So the question is, are the tolerances in here good enough to avoid that? Well, I want to point out something about this lock. It's got a ridge on the back here. Let's try and get this in focus, because for some reason it's not focusing. All right, so what we've got, if I depress that, you've got something that forms like a ridge. That ridge effectively forms a seal in the core housing. So if I show you this slotting into place, just going to put the lock core in here. You should see that ridge line up with the back housing of the lock. Just catch it right so the glare doesn't get us. That's a nice tight fit. There's very little space behind that spring latch where I can get something in here to depress the latch with. Now, I will show you how much clearance there is, because like I said, the core is a reasonably tight fit. I can get a core shim in here. This is for taking lock cores out. It's extremely thin. It's far thinner than we would want to use to create a bypass for this, but I can get it down the side of the lock. And what you can do is you can see me push it through and it comes out like that. That's fine. If I try and rotate that upwards, as if I was going to try and get behind that spring latch, I basically get stuck. It's much tighter at the top where that housing is. I'm going to show you how far I can get it. I can get it to about there. And I can't get it any further up, which means I can't get to the back of that spring latch. So is this lock susceptible to a core shim attack? I think probably not. So, you know, tolerances are your friend, and especially if you're in the security business, and this I think has pretty acceptable tolerances for the fit of that core. So I'm not thinking that's a big risk to this lock, which leaves us with two other attack methods, single pin picking, which we're going to do in a minute, and impressioning. This is a 10 pin core. I do not have a 10 pin core tool to test this with. They do exist, but you know, we're in the realms there of a specialist tool. So someone would have had to have done some research, work out what lock they're going to go and try and bypass or get into, get the right tool, and have tested it works to know that that's worth the effort of doing. And still, there's still a bit of skill and practice required in actually being able to pull off that. So again, is someone going to steal your stuff using an impressioning tool, a 10-pin one at that? I think again is probably reasonably unlikely, which really does leave us with single pin picking. So what I'm going to do is roll that video now, watch right to the end. It does pick faster than the other core does, because this does not have tapered pins. But end to end, remember, I'm picking it to 6 positions. So it's worth considering that before you draw your conclusions. All right, see you in a moment. Right then, we're going to find out what it takes to get this fully open. We're going to sort the cut lighting out first of all. There we go, that's better. Right, locked up. Well, let's get it open. Okay, it's slightly difficult to see where the pins are. We have to feel around a bit, but it's a bit closer to real life, I suppose. Right, we've got to click out of 1, click out of 2, third and a fourth, fifth with a small amount of core movement. Nothing out of that one. Nothing out of that one. I'm going to click. Right. Quite a lot of core movement. Which one didn't give us a click around here? This one, I think. No. This one. Right, that's one position. Click out of that one. Right, seem to be making progress. Bit of core movement, a bit more core movement. It's probably about to pop. If only I could find the pin. Those two are the ones. 3, 4, 5, 6, that's 7. Gotta be this one. Yep, there we go. Right, so 2 positions. Good core movement. Nothing on that pin. Right. That's 3 positions. Now it gets tricky because we're effectively tensioning upside down. There's a good chance I'm going to lose the tensioner halfway through this. Core movement again. A bit more. Right, so that is 4. It is even more difficult to tension it from this angle. Just seeing the pins is quite a challenge. Right, there's a pin I cannot see. Got it. And the other one. Where's the last pin? I think there's one more to go. Not that one. Yeah, there we go. Right. It's 5. One more position and it's open. We are at, what's that, 7 minutes? Pretty good, actually. Got a couple set now. That's another one. And another. And there we go, that's 6. Right. Still got to get the core out though, because that lug isn't going to come off until we get the core out. So I'm going to get a hook and put that under this lip and give it a good tug. This is a very tight fitting core. Well, let's not playing ball. Come on. Okay, 8 minutes 30 seconds and change. So not as pick resistant as the first core I had, but 6 positions, awkward upside down picking, and ideal conditions in a vise under lights. I still think this is a pretty good lock. 8 minutes, 8.5 minutes is very close to the 10-minute gold standard for any lock. So if this was securing a piece of hardware at a less convenient angle in poor lighting or poor weather, it's going to absolutely do the job. A bigger risk to this from any attack is going to be from a brute force physical attack, and from that perspective it's pretty sturdy steel. So I still say good job, Lincmaster. Cheers.